Jake.
Hello everyone, I just wanted to make a quick how-to video on using the PMDG Electronic Flight Bag, or EFB for short, with NVDA and how to get that going in the both the PMDG 737 and 777 variants, which is where this is provided in MSFS. And I just wanted to quickly go over how that works and how you can access it. Now, before we jump in, just want to set some expectations here. This is unfortunately not accessible out of the box. You can read parts of it with the NVDA OCR feature. However, there are certain things like icons that you unfortunately won't be able to access with NVDA or click on without sighted assistance, so you will need sighted help to get this going initially and get all your settings configured. The good news though is after that point, once you have everything set up, optionally you might want to use sighted help to configure or set up a gold cursor profile for the two things that you need to click on in the EFB to get your SimBrief OFP data loaded. But once you're done with all that, the great news is that you will be able to use it going forward without any sighted assistance. Personally, I used IRA for this initial setup. So yeah, if you have an IRA subscription, great, you could use that. Otherwise, maybe ask a friend or family member, you know. So yeah, first of all, we are loaded up in the PMDG 777-200 ER in MSFS. Currently sitting here at a gate, Frankfurt Airport. I've created a flight plan and SimBrief going from Frankfurt Airport to London Heathrow, and we're gonna load this into the FMC shortly using the EFB. So first things first, when you want to set this up for the first time, you will need to at least get some assistance with putting your SimBrief username in there, or I think in the settings they might call it SimBrief alias. Just for clarification, this is the username that you chose when you signed up for SimBrief. It is not the ID number that you have to use for some other add-ons like Say Intentions. I believe does this when they ask for your SimBrief ID rather than your alias / username. So say you're loaded up in the 777 and sitting at a gate somewhere, you will go into the MSFS window and press Control 9. That brings up the EFB view, and you can validate this with NVDA's OCR feature. So there's some other stuff here, some other text. And here we see electronic flight bag, manuals, and there's also the performance tool icon that you could click on. So all that stuff should be present on your screen even before you configure all your settings. So that's something you can do to just visible on screen before you call IRA or get somebody else to help you with this. So once you're at that point, you're gonna have to have somebody else help you initially and click on EFB, and then there's a settings icon that they'd be able to click on, and in those settings there will be a field where you can then input the SimBrief alias / username, and then I believe I'm not sure right now, I don't remember if there's a save button that they need to click on, but I actually don't think so. I think you just click on it, you type it in, and then it should be saved and all set and ready to go, at which point there is going to be a home icon somewhere which they will need to click on to take you back to this home screen where again you have EFB, manuals, performance tool, and some other stuff. Just a quick note, there is an option in there as well in settings where you can link your Navigraph account. You would need to, when you click on that, it would show a QR code that you could then scan with your phone, which would bring up the Navigraph login page. You could sign in with your Navigraph credentials and link your Navigraph account to PMDG. This would mostly be useful in our case for updating the nav data using the tablet. However, since we can also just do this using Navigraph Hub, I personally have not done this. It's not really necessary, just wanted to point it out for the sake of completeness, that this exists and it can be done, but again, personally speaking, I have chosen not to do this because, again, we have Navigraph Hub, and that's a much better way, for us at least, to keep our nav data up to date. Alright, so another thing here that I have done is I used Sighted Assistance to set up a golden cursor profile to click on the two things that need to be clicked in order to load the OFP data. People have had success using the OCR window and routing the mouse to those buttons this way. Personally, I found that did not work for me. I don't know if that's maybe because of my resolution or something else, but I personally find the golden cursor solution to be a bit more straightforward to use and a bit easier anyway, so I figured why not. Only caveat in this case is you would need to do this for both the 7.3 and the 777 individually, because apparently the tablet looks a bit different on those variants. But the good thing is, and this is also something important that I wanted to call out, once you have configured your SimBrief alias in any of these variants, whether that be the 7.3 or the triple, those settings will carry over to all your other PMDG aircraft. So it doesn't matter if you started with the 7.3 and you set it there, it will carry over to the triple, and if you start with the triple, then it will carry over to the 7.3. So that's really nice. It means you don't have to do this more than once, and at that point those settings will persist across updates, reinstalls, all that fun stuff. So anyway, in my case, I'm just going to get out of the OCR result window, and I'm going to press Insert Control L as in Lima to bring up the golden cursor mouse positions that I've saved. And I'm going to click on, or hit enter on 777 EFB. And I'm going to click that with my physical mouse that I have. And I'm going to OCR the window again. And it didn't work. So this is also something to be aware of. This can be a bit finicky at times. So I'll just try this again. Click.
Recognizing result document SimBrief mouse post acting activate electronic flag manuals 08 Microsoft Flight Simulator H1 mouse position 777 EFB position X 1266 position Y 395
of course, now that I'm doing this in a video, it's not gonna work.
Microsoft Flight Simulator H1.38.2.0
just try it. Double click.
Recognizing result document mouse post acting active auto crew flight detail Helson.
Okay, so now it actually worked, and now with the with NVDA OCR,
flight details.
I can see here that says flight details. It says call sign. But there isn't actually a call sign. It says aircraft registration, and that's also missing currently. Aircraft type.
ALTN.
ALTN, which would be your alternate. Co-RTE, some company route. So all that stuff is currently not populated. And that's because
request data from SimBrief.
There is a button here that's called Request Data from SimBrief.
Microsoft Flight.
And that's what will actually go and fetch that data from your latest SimBrief OFP and import it into the tablet.
Mouse position for 777 request SimBrief data position X 1424 position Y
So again,
776
I have my golden cursor mouse position saved for this location of this particular button.
Microsoft Flight Simulator
So I'm going to
H1.38.2.0
root the mouse there, click, You should really only have to do a single click. For me, I don't know why, but I have to double click it sometimes
Recognizing. Result document.
in order for that to work. So now we'll OCR the
Level
window
taxi
again.
numbers. Back Miller. Flight detail. Helson. BV14RK.
And now we have all this stuff in there. Instead of BVI 4RK, it recognized the letter I as being the number 1, but that's
Aircraft
cool.
red. N772DE.
We have an aircraft registration. We
Sim
have
rate. ALTN. EGCC.
an alternate in there, which would be Manchester for this flight.
Co-RTE. Ethical.
And co-route, we have EDDF, EJLL. So
Microsoft Flight
based
Simulator.
on these couple of details, we know, okay, cool, this actually worked. And we have the SimBrief OFP loaded into the tablet. So that's basically all that you need to do, really, in the tablet. The flight plan's now been loaded, so you can forget about that and
Ops
move
31.0.3.
back
Turnaround column 3. Turnaround.
to TFM.
DFD1 com. Nav. Transport. Fuel. FMC. Turnaround. MC. Turner panels. P10 of FMC. Left 6. Right. Left L1 3.
I'm going to bring
FMC.
up the left FMC,
Manifest 1. Less FMC. X off.
and we're just going to
Item.
click
Model 1. 7.
on through
Mac 6.
this.
Listen. Expose it. Vote. Mac 6.
We'll just skip the
RTE 1.
position
1. Runway
of
F2.
the page
Route
for
code.
now.
3. Less request.
So
Route
now
code.
that we are on the route page,
3. Less request.
we can actually just hit 3 left to
Route files.
request.
Mac 1. Less P.
And now it will bring up the route files FMC
Mac 2. Less
screen.
RTE. DDF. DLL.
And we could just see on 2 left here, it says SimBrief, route, EDDF, EJLL. So this is exactly what we've just loaded in through the tablet. So we just press 2
Flight
left.
ID. Flight F. 1. EDDF. DLL. EGCC.
And
F.
shows now on this
Flight
screen,
DVI 4RK.
which just says flight ID, BVI for Romeo Kilo.
F.
So that's my flight number. And then
1.
one
EDDF.
left,
DLL. EGCC.
it shows your departure, DDF in this case, Frankfurt, your arrival, EJLL, which would be London Heathrow, and EGCC, which is our alternate, and that would be Manchester
Middle
Airport.
scientist.
It will also show
2 FL 441 307.
different details here, your initial climb, your cost index, the route
Mac
distance.
3.
So this is all really nice just to show you that all the data is there.
ZF4 357. ZFW
Everything's
RDPLK dual.
been imported correctly. Your CFW block
4, 3.
fuel, it will show that all on line 4.
Mac 5. Less set payload. Set fuel greater.
And this is where things get really convenient because you can now press. So line
Mac
5,
Less set payload. Set fuel greater.
it will say set payload on the left side and set fuel on the right side. So we just press 5 left.
CDU number 1 message light on. Simbrief payload set.
We get a notification, a CDU message that says CDU payload set. If we do 5 right now, we get another message that says SimBrief block fuel set. So perfect. We can now press
Scratch but clear.
Alt
Scratch but
C
clear.
twice to just clear those messages out of the scratch
6.
pad.
Less return select RTE greater.
And then finally on 6 right we have select route. So we'll do that, and that will actually now get the actual route uplink going, loading all that
Port 1.
data into the CDU.
Runway FLT2 BVI 4RK. CDU number 1 message light on. Land.
Yep, there you have it. And
Run
we have the route loaded. We have EDDF as our
Coordinate 1.
departure, EJLL as our
Run 2 BVI 4.
destination. We have our flight number in
Code 3.
here.
Route uplink 4. Less load first greater.
And then we have route uplink, so we still have to do 4 left once more to actually accept and load the route uplink. And yep, now that is loading.
RTE port 1 EDDF EGLL. Run 2 RW BVI 4RK.
So now that's taken
Route
care
3 less
of,
request ethical. Land 4. Land 6 less RTE to activate greater.
we can actually go ahead and
Execute
activate
number
the
1
route.
Execute number 1 not available.
And a thing that I would recommend you to do, it is totally optional, it's just a good practice, especially when you are getting ready for a long haul or an event flight, is
Menu CD.
to go back to the menu and then do
FS actions.
6
1
right
less fuel connect.
to go to FS actions,
Fuel.
fuel.
Total 1 32,210 300.
And just double check your block fuel against the block fuel that you have in your SimBrief
Microsoft
load
Flight Ops
sheet.
31 SimBrief
If
flight
we
briefing.
do
Great
this
column
here
SimBrief.
real quick,
1 flight link. Banner visited main flight load sheet. All route type details. Load sheet. All heading level 2 block. Heading level 2 graphic clickable. 6.70 lb/USCal. 18,198 liters. 1.77 lb/L. 32,210 lbs.
Okay, so 32,210 pounds of fuel is what we should be carrying. And looking at the FMC here, one left up the fuel page.
32,210,
Yep, that is exactly what we have. So then go out of here, and we go to left payload, and we just double check our zero fuel weight.
357.9.
357.9. Yep, 357,875, so it's just rounded it up to 357.9. So perfect. That's how you know that all your weights and payload that you should be carrying according to your load sheet has all been properly imported. So that's just a good practice to cross-check that against your actual OFP load sheet to make sure that there wasn't anything wrong when the data got transferred in. I've never had any issues where these two didn't match, but again, like especially when you're going to be doing a long haul or anything like that, it would be really unfortunate if you had to bail out of your flight due to an incorrect import from SimBrief. So I would personally recommend double checking these things. All right, so finally, we will go to the perf init page, and we'll have on line 5 right, we will have an accept option for our performance data uplink. So we'll hit that, and that's now been loaded in. And now if we check our perf init page, we still need to do line select key 3 left twice to insert our weight. And now we will have our initial flight level according to SimBrief.
232.2 pounds, 41.
We have our cost index.
Reserve CRZ4, 12.9, 14.0%.
And we have our reserve fuel.
Step size, 5, less request RVSM.
All set according to the SimBrief OFP. So yeah, and again, this is something you should check and cross-reference with your actual OFP to make sure that everything is correct. I'm not going to go over this again because it's pretty clear where to find this information. But yeah, that's sort of the thing that I would recommend doing, is to cross-check against your SimBrief OFP to make sure that everything is correct. So yeah, that is basically all there is to using the tablet /EFB in both the PMDG 777 and 737 variants, and how to then import all the data using the FMC menus. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Again, it does require some sighted help to get things going initially, but once you are done with that stuff, then everything should just work and be quite easy to use. Again, in my case, I opted to set up golden cursor profiles for the 7.3s and the triples just to make my life a bit easier, because I found the mouse rooting and clicking using the OCR window quite unreliable in my case. Again, others have had no issues with this at all, so that's just personal preference. And yeah, once everything is initially configured, then it should be relatively easy to use going forward, and you will no longer have to rely on SimBrief Downloader to get all your root files and stuff downloaded. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, hopefully you found it useful, and
SimBrief,
happy flying.
Microsoft Flight Ops 31.